Trey Hendrickson. That's what we're supposed to be talking about here, not graduation speeches, but that was our segue. He sent a very short and not sweet message yesterday to a variety of reporters, including Adam Schefter, and Trey Hendrickson is not happy about the fact that he has yet to get the contract that he believes he has earned. No communication has taken place between my camp and the organization post-draft. The offers prior to the draft did not reflect the vision we shared and were promised last offseason if I continued to play at a high level. Coaches are aware of these past conversations. Rather than using collaboration to get us to a point to bring me home to the team, they are no longer communicating. I have been eagerly awaiting a resolution of this situation, but that's hard to do when there is no discussion and an evident lack of interest in reaching mutual goals. So he's calling out the coaches, saying they're not helping.
Well,
they're not helping me. They're not talking to me.
They know. Yeah, right. But yeah, is he saying that they're not talking to him, you think, or just the fact that he's
I don't
just
know
trying
who
to
the
make
they
it,
is.
Or the coaches are aware of these past conversations, as in like he's I think more not that he's being ghosted by them, because I would be shocked.
I feel like he's being ghosted by everyone.
It sounds like the front office for sure,
Yeah.
but I think he's just trying to make a point of going, the coaches are aware of these things that we talked about last year, where the team said, if I play well and do sacks and the people up in the front office tell me I play at a high level, right? That's been communicated between me, the coaches, the front office, that they know that they said they would do this. So I think he's trying to put pressure on the front office by going, hey, the coaches know you said this to me too. That's at least how I read it. Maybe
But
I'm
you know
wrong,
what?
Mike.
You know what?
Right.
First of all, it's not clear.
Right.
It's
I know,
open to
it's not.
multiple
You're right.
reasonable
It
interpretations.
is.
Reasonable minds may differ, as
Right.
the lawyers and
Right.
judges may say. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Never take anyone's word for anything. If it's not written, if it's not signed, it's not binding, it's not enforceable. As I've said many times in the past, it's not worth the paper it's not written on. It's worthless. Oh, yeah, we'll take care of you next year. How many times have players been lied to that way? And shame on you, Trey, and anyone else who accepts someone's word that they're going to take care of you, because no one's word means anything. We live in post-truth America, where people will lie, cheat, and steal whenever, wherever, however, and be proud of it and boast about it and do it brazenly. Get it in writing, get it signed. That's your only protection. That's your only security. And the problem is, and look, we're fully in favor of players getting paid everything they can. Problem is, guy's 30.
Did a bad last contract.
He did a bad contract.
He did.
And the Bengals are not inclined to rip up a bad contract for a player, because that's a good contract for them. And after they've paid T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and at the end of the day, the contracts were better for the team than we thought they were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But both guys took less than I thought they were going to want. But they've got no inclination to tear up Trey Hendrickson's deal and replace it. And, you know, I've heard they've offered $28 a year. Now, I don't know anything about the structure.
Yeah.
The number means nothing, especially if there's back-end phony baloney, jack up the final year to make the APY artificially high.
Right.
But I've heard he wants, like, Max Crosby money. Well, Max Crosby, number one, is a good run defender, and number two is 27.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson isn't Max Crosby.
Right.
And at some point, somebody's got to say that. Hey, Trey, you're not Max Crosby. You're not Myles Garrett.
No, I don't think he has the effect on the overall game like they do. He's up there with them as a pass rusher, right? That's for sure. I would say that. But you're right. As far as disruption, and I think even within you watch a Bengals game, you could watch a Bengals game and go, man, this has been a long time. I haven't even noticed Trey Hendrickson. And all of a sudden, it might happen in a flash. A 2-minute drill, we get 2 sacks. Or the end of the game, all of a sudden, it comes out of nowhere. And at the end of the game, we look at the bottom line and go, hey, the stats were pretty good, but compared to the top guys that you're talking about, Micah Parsons, all of them, and don't get me wrong, Trey Hendrickson's a hell of a player, but Micah Parsons, Matt Crosby, Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, do I think he affects the game on a play-by-play basis to their extent? No, I do not. But still, either way, he's extremely underpaid, and we know that. And yes, part of that is his doing. That's what makes this a little tricky here within this one. But also, when it comes down to it, I mean, I've heard the same thing as far as numbers. I have no idea what the structure is either. That makes sense to get him around the 28 to 30 a year type of average. I get that. I don't think a guy that I'm pro player being paid just like you too, but I don't think in the hierarchy of football, do I think he should be paid like those guys? No, I don't. I think those guys are on a little bit different player, special player. And like you said, young, prime of their career for the most part, other than maybe Myles Garrett, who's an absolute physical freak specimen that you only see come around the NFL every now and then. So that's a little different there too. But, Mike, I get back to this again. Yes, I know he's got a contract. I get that. It's bad. He's way underpaid. But you're sitting here. You're the Bengals. You're in the Super Bowl window. We've talked about it at length. The offense, the quarterback, they're special. The defense was the issue last year. They drafted a guy that I love, but the fan base and Shamar Stewart doesn't believe it because he only had the 1.5 sacks. There's no marquee name on the defensive line other than Trey Hendrickson. He's not there. One of their linebackers wants to be traded and leave too. The secondary's had issues, so they're working that. They got nothing to stand on here. That's what I'm saying a little bit here. This is the court of public opinion is going to be on Trey Hendrickson's side, and the court of I look at football and look at rosters and all that tell me you need him you need him badly. You need him badly. And that's where I just look at it and go, why are we dragging our feet again here? And I hope it can get done because I want to see the Bengals at their best.
Well, and look, the reality is the players have only so many levers that they can pull in situations like this. What are you going to do? You're going to hold out of training camp?
Yeah.
And we saw what they did with Carson Palmer when he didn't want to be a Bengal anymore. They said, fine, go home. You know what? Because if you don't show up, we don't have to pay you.
Yeah, I get you.
We get to save that $1 million a week. And some of the organizations out there think that way. So if you don't want to play, we don't care because we're not as obsessed with winning as you might think we are.
I don't think they're going to get away with it right now.
Well, they need Burrow to get involved.
That's what I mean. And I think he will be involved. And now that Chase and Higgins are secured too, the Bengals are going to lose 3 other people in their locker room that are all going to be on the Trey Hendrickson side. Go, no, we signed here. We took a little less, like Florio said. Get it done because we want to win. And I think that's where it's going to be a little different. I don't know if Carson Palmer had those type of personalities on his team. There was a few, don't get me wrong, Chad Ochocinco, I get it, Hushmanzada, but they didn't seem the ones that would maybe speak out. We've seen Joe will let thoughts be known. And I think Jamar Chase will too when push comes to shove there in that department. And that's where the Bengals, I don't know if they can pull off their usual parlor tricks that they like to pull off here in this one.
Well, and Burrow is the one who was banging the drum right around the Super Bowl that, hey, the Eagles pulled it off. We can pull it off.
Right.
And there were some other things that it never got to the point where I drilled down into the contract, but Burrow's got some stuff in his contract that gives him some power here that the Bengals may not even be aware of, where he could just say, I'm just staying home, and he's not going to have to write anybody a big check to stay home.
Like
you know how you have to pay back.
Yeah. He can get out of his
contract.
The
way his contract, it's not that he can get out of it.
Yeah.
He can, and I want to be careful here, but he can tap out without having to write them a check for any money he's already been paid. You know, usually if a guy would say, I'm going to retire or I'm just going to take a year off, you owe money back for signing bonus. The way his contract is structured, there is no amount that he would owe them that he's received in past years. That's not a burden for him. Not that it would be a big deal for him anyway, but he's got more power than the usual player who's got this massive signing bonus that if you breach the contract by staying away, you've got to come up with a big check. So he's got some power. We'll see if he wants to use it for Hendrickson. And maybe he's thinking at some level, hey, I didn't think they'd do 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 is good enough for me, especially since it's the 2 guys I wanted.
Right.
We'll worry about the defense. You know, they drafted Shamar Stewart. I'm not going to burn up any more of my political capital for Trey Hendrickson. I think this is an effort in a roundabout way to get Burrow involved. And this is his message to try to get public opinion on his side and to get Burrow to maybe say, oh, yeah, I forgot. They haven't taken care of Trey Hendrickson yet. They need to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the baseline, too, and again, I know it's trickier than this, but just some of the names that are in front of him right now, he's going to certainly be able to stand on solid ground and go, wait, Brian Burns is at an APY of $28 million a year. I feel like I've outplayed him the last 2 years or so. Josh Allen Hines Allen, excuse me, down in Jacksonville. And I've been every bit as good as him. Now, he's been damn good lately, don't get me wrong. But then there's names like, wait, Milton Williams. He's making $26 million. He's going to look at that and go, wait, I know it's not a defensive end, and he's a hot name because he was on the Eagles and all that. But, wow, I mean, he just came out of nowhere and had this big year this year, and he's getting money like that. Andrew Van Ginkel just got a spiced-up contract from the Vikings. So just at a base level, he's going to look at it and go, wait, this is ridiculous. I'm so underpaid here in this one. It's not even funny. And then, like I talked about, you get down to it, and you start to look and go, okay, they drafted Shamar Stewart in the first round. I like that. We got B.J. Hill, who's getting up there in age as a D tackle, but I don't think teams are like, oh man, we got a game plan and change everything for B.J. Hill. Chris Jenkins from Michigan, T.J. Slayton are the other D tackles. Again, guys that I'm going to say no one's game planning, going, oh no, we're screwed here. Right? So Joseph Asai is the other guy right now as a starter across from Trey Hendrickson if he was there. Again, I don't think anybody's going, oh, no, we got to double Joseph Asai. I'm not trying to be a jerk to anyone here. I'm just trying to be real about where they are as a team. So there we go through their front seven, and by all due accounts, they're going to be starting a rookie linebacker too because Jermaine Pratt wants to be traded as well, and we've heard nothing but Al Golden coming in. He's moving around secondary players because they've had issues there, and that's where I just want to go, man, the defense looks like it's all over the place. There's no marquee guy. There's no leader. It's young. What the hell are we doing? And that's where Hendrickson, I think, has a lot of value or say in this too.
And
yeah,
at the end of the day, he signed the contract he signed in free agency to join the Bengals. The Bengals aren't known to rip up deals that have become good for them. Teams can rip up the deals that are bad for them.
What were they thinking with that deal? That to me is what I come back to again, where I will side with the Bengals a little just to go, what was Trey Hendrickson and their camp thinking
that was apparently the best deal he could have gotten.
Man, I just that's surprising because I mean I think we all saw where the defensive end market was going at that time. We kind of had a feel.
But here's the problem. When a player outplays his contract, the team has no built-in obligation to do anything about it. When the player underperforms his contract, the team can rip it up. It is not a two-way street. It is a one-way situation. The team has all the power. The only thing that the player is guaranteed is the money that is guaranteed at signing and whatever other levers come in the contract. And it's unfortunate, it's unfair, but it's just the way it is. And it's one of the reasons why we try to get fans to be a little more understanding of the player's plight here, because it is a very imbalanced bargaining situation when it's in the existence of a contract.
Yeah.
Because the team has a lot more power to move on. The team has the unquestioned ability to move on and replace that player with someone cheaper, younger, whatever, and the player can't say, I've outperformed my contract. Well, he can say it, but he can't do anything to force an outcome. I've outperformed my contract. You should reward me accordingly. No, you could have a team like the Bengals that say, hey, you know what? We call that doing a good deal, and we're going to enjoy the benefits of having done a good deal.
No, I hear that, and that's where it's hard to be totally mad at the Bengals. I get that as well, but again, they're playing a dicey game in the court of public opinion, in the court of their locker room.
They don't care. I mean, the only thing they care about is Burrow.
Right.
And until Burrow gets involved in this, they aren't going to do anything. Burrow's going to have to chime in before anything gets done here, because the Bengals don't care about whether or not there's a feeling in the locker room that might cause them to fall short of winning a Super Bowl, because I don't think they give a shit about winning a Super Bowl. They care about making profit. It is a business, and it's like telling people pro wrestling is fake, although now that they know, most people don't care. But when you tell football fans it's really a business and they really aren't as obsessed with winning a Super Bowl as they tell you they are, from Jerry Jones all the way down to Mike Brown, they just want to make money, and the way they make money is act like or don't. I mean, you could be like the Bengals and just don't even put on the pretense of which we're obsessed with winning a Super Bowl. No, we're putting a football game on, and you can either watch it or not. You can follow the team or not. You can show up or not.
Yeah, I know. And I know you're right here, but if there's a time to go for it and add to the value of your franchise overall and make more money, it would be right now. You got the time. You got a chance to win a Super Bowl, all of that, change the stratosphere and what your organization in the trajectory it's on. Just look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They got a quarterback. They kind of went all in. And now we look at it and go, are they one of the premier organization in football? And I'm sure the value of their organization has gone up from there. What?
Being bad is hard.
Right.
Being good is hard.
Yes, it is.
Choose your hard. The Bengals choose to be bad.
Okay.
They
all right.
choose because they can be bad and profitable or good and profitable.
I know. But
And sometimes the better you are, the less profitable you are. Because you know what? When you go to the Super Bowl, it's a lot of people you got to take. It's a lot of hotel rooms you got to get. You don't get some special stream of cash from the NFL to help defray your costs of going to the Super Bowl. You got to have parties. Those parties are expensive, or not have parties.
yeah, but they killed it in the 3 playoff games before that and didn't have to pay a Joe Burrow a $5 million check. So they raked it in already. So they can kiss my butt with all that talk right there.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.